deeply worrying. Promises are being made and then not delivered upon. Governments of the right and of the left sometimes think national interests are more important than community solutions. What suffers are the refugees and the cohesion of the European Union. I'd like now, therefore, to give the floor to the President of the European Council, Donald Tusk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear members of the European Parliament, before the briefing on the European Council on the 15th of October and the next steps ahead, I would like to say the following. The crisis, or rather challenge, that we, all of us, as a community, as the European Union, are facing now is perhaps the biggest challenge we have seen for decades. I have no doubt that this challenge has the potential to change the European Union we have built. It has the potential even to destroy achievements such as border-free travel between Schengen countries. And what is even more dangerous, it has the potential to create tectonic changes in the European political landscape. And these are not changes for the better. These are truly extraordinary times that require extraordinary measures, extraordinary sacrifices, and extraordinary solidarity. To me, as a President of the European Council, and I believe to most of us, it is paramount to ensure the unity of our Member States and of European institutions. Together we will handle this crisis. Otherwise, I do not want to think of the alternative. From the very outset of this crisis, I have underlined the importance of protecting our external borders. We do not yet have an agreement on how to do it in operational terms, but at least leaders share the view that our priority must be to protect the EU's external borders. Unfortunately, the situation will get even worse, as I warned this chamber in my last intervention. I mean, for example, the new wave of refugees from Aleppo and the region after Russian bombing attack in Syria. It was more than 100,000 new refugees in a few days. Dear members, during the last European Council, leaders gave a cautious welcome to the work of the European Commission on a deal with Turkey on migration. Here, let me personally thank Vice President Timmermans, who is working hard on the technical details. Let me stress again that a deal with Turkey only makes sense if it helps stem the migratory flows to Europe. This cooperation will not be easy. We should have no illusion that any third country, including Turkey, can replace us in protecting our borders. Second, leaders took stock of work to make 11 hotspots in Greece and Italy fully operational by the end of November. This deadline is ambitious and requires a significant acceleration of manpower and assets to Frontex and the European Asylum Support Office. For now, the European agencies have less than half of what they need. When it comes to the role of hotspots, we have started an honest debate on how they should function. This is still work in progress. Third, we discussed at length how to protect our borders. We must end at once this completely unnecessary argument between the proponents of protecting external borders and the advocates of solidarity and openness. We need both. We need to restore
in EU country Portugal with the situation in previous USSR. I know you don't have experience of living in USSR. We have. Can you please bring example where Brezhnev or somebody else leading Soviet Union was confronting results of democratic elections in one of USSR republics or members?
Well, actually, although I have to say I wasn't around at the time of the Hungarian uprising, it did happen, and we saw a similar one happening in Czechoslovakia in 1968. And just let me tell you what the Brezhnev Doctrine says, shall I? Because I'm sure you remember it. It says, when forces that are hostile to socialism try to turn the development of a socialist country towards capitalism, it becomes not only a problem of the country concerned, but a common problem and a concern of all socialist countries. I think what you need to do is cross out socialist and put European Union, and it fits like a glove.
On behalf of the ENF, Mr. de Graaff.
Voorzitter, mevrouw Merkel.
President, when Chancellor Merkel last week, she went to visit the Sultan of Turkey, and in so doing she sealed the fate of Europe. Turkey gets fast-track access to the European Union in exchange for restricting the flow of migrants. This rings the bankruptcy of democracy, where Germany simply decides for everyone else. The EU abolishes itself and becomes incorporated in the new Ottoman Empire. External borders cannot be made 100% watertight, and yet the restoring internal borders is taboo. The European elite would rather sell itself out to the beast of Ankara. Forget human rights. As Erdogan bombards his own people, as he cooperates with ISIS, abolishes democracy in Turkey, and stifles freedom of expression in violence. Only in 1913 were the Turks definitively expelled from the Balkans, and only then did the murder and rape of Christian populations end. And the EU is bringing back the wars of religion. With Islam, children are raped as brides, women are second-class chattels, and infidels are persecuted and murdered. When Mrs. Merkel says that Islam belongs to Europe, she repudiates all the Christian and humanitarian values of Christendom and makes herself complicit in the abuse in detention centres, with rapes, persecution of Christians on a massive scale. And that's going to happen in every town and every village. That is Islam, a takeover of the West. And we must stop the invasion, seal the borders, and Turkey must never become a member of our EU. Thank you very much.